Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, he wrote that Kurukshetra is more important than Mathura because karma is more important than janma. Krishna took his birth in Mathura, but his main karma was a speaking of Bhagavad Gita for humanity, and that was in Kurukshetra. So Srila Prabhupada wanted to make a grand entire project in Kurukshetra to show the world the teachings of Sri Krishna spoken at Kurukshetra. Now in 1975, Srila Prabhupada had us go to Kurukshetra for a Sanskrit conference at the University of Kurukshetra. And we had phenomenal success with all of the Sanskrit scholars all over India. They all took Prabhupada's books and invited us to come to their universities. And the students were also very, very interested at University of Kurukshetra. So after that, in May of 1975, we had a temple at that time in Delhi at Bengali Market, 19 Todar Mole Lane, a tiny little temple. And the former Prime Minister of India, twice, Prime Minister Gujari Lal Nanda, he was Prime Minister when Pandit Nehru left this world. He was made Prime Minister, and then when Bahadur Lal Shastra left this world, he was again made Prime Minister. He contacted Srila Prabhupada and came to visit him because he wanted Srila Prabhupada to assist him with a huge project that he was making in Kurukshetra. He had just completed, because he was a very powerful politician in irrigation and in labor, he had gotten 10 acres of land to make a project in Kurukshetra. He wanted Prabhupada to design that project and develop it. And Prabhupada then, in May, for the first time, on the invitation of Prime Minister Nanda, he made a visit to Kurukshetra. And Mr. Nanda made Prabhupada the president of a big Bhagavad Gita contingency that he had organized. And in the morning, Srila Prabhupada spoke. But Prabhupada noticed that many of the sannyasis and the other members of this contingency were not very interested in the personalist view of Bhagavad Gita. In fact, many of them considered Bhagavad Gita to merely be an analogy, although they were right in the land of Kurukshetra. So by evening time, Srila Prabhupada was not able to attend because the next day he was leaving for Australia to establish a temple there. So he apologized to Mr. Nanda, and he wrote a very, very long letter to Mr. Nanda about the entire project, the importance of Varnashram College, the importance of introducing Varnashram into the curriculum of the University of Kurukshetra. And Prabhupada gave a whole outline, like a prospectus, of how this Kurukshetra project should be developed. Now immediately, because of Prabhupada's practical nature, Prabhupada began considering two aspects of always, men and money. Where was the money going to come for such a big project? And which men would be facilitating that project that Prabhupada envisioned? So that was in May, and then in November, after Prabhupada had finished an extensive tour of Africa, Mauritius, then Bombay, he came to Delhi, and he called Ambarish Prabhu. He wanted Ambarish to help him with this Kurukshetra project. And Prabhupada, along with his disciples, made a second trip to Kurukshetra at that time. I was there in Delhi. Everyone went from the whole temple with Prabhupada to Kurukshetra. I had to stay back to take care of Radha Parthasarathi as the pujari. And Prabhupada had a very successful trip at that time. looking at the land, seeing the possibilities, meeting with officials, and then he came back and began developing this Kurukshetra project. So this is the very beginning of Prabhupada's conception of ISKCON Kurukshetra. Since that time, many dedicated devotees, along with Gopal Krishna Maharaj and other leaders, they've sent their disciples there to develop the project. 80% complete now. So it's been 50 years now working on this project. It's such an important project. And we invite all the devotees to visit ISKCON Kurukshetra, to assist with ISKCON Kurukshetra, and to spread the teachings of Bhagavad Gita all over the world from this main center to be developed in ISKCON Kurukshetra, spreading the glories of Bhagavad Gita and Sri Krishna's teachings, and asserting that Kurukshetra does exist, Sri Krishna does exist. He spoke Bhagavad Gita at that place of Kurukshetra, and we have to spread these teachings of Bhagavad Gita all over the world for humanity. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ka sapna धर्म क्षेत्र की रणभूमि पर हो श्री कृष्ण अर्जुन मंदिर अपना धर्म क्षेत्र की भूमि पर हो श्री कृष्ण अर्जुन मंदिर